कुमार साहब नायक गोंगो लुगु लटोका रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे।
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन।
Good evening, Fiji. In this bulletin, FNPF may help shore up home loans. Collusion between licensed and unlicensed electrical contractors. And national ocean policy almost ready.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Jackie Spade.
The Ministry of Economy is now in talks with the Fiji National Provident Fund to provide home loan repayment relief for FNPF members. Minister Ayaside Kayum says the government does not want to see families lose their homes to mortgagee sales, and therefore discussions are underway with the FNPF. Kelly Vavala reports.
The government says it is aware of banks reviewing their stand on loan repayment holidays and deferred payments post-COVID-19.
We are meeting up with them next week. There's obviously various matters we have to talk about. We're also currently talking to FNPF in respect of giving FNPF members, in particular those who are currently unemployed as a result of COVID-19, in respect of how we can help them with their mortgage repayments. And also, there are some individuals and couples, for example, who may be in some particular dire strait regarding repayments, in particular for home mortgages.
This could assist hundreds of families who have existing home loans and are struggling to repay the banks due to pay cuts and unemployment.
And we are concerned about it. We don't want people to, keep their pension but don't have a roof over their head and lose their homes. So that's very important for us.
Said Kayum says the FNPF is also liaising directly with the banks to see how many home mortgages remain.
In particular, home mortgages that could be, behind in repayments as a result of people being unemployed. So we hope to make some announcements in that space very soon, because we are acutely aware of the situation of some people. And so we are meeting with the banks next week. We are also resolving this matter pertaining to, in particular, home mortgages.
Earlier this year, the government convinced banks and hire purchase companies to defer loan repayments for up to 6 months for customers who were financially affected by COVID-19, either due to job losses or pay cuts. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Unlicensed electrical contractors are now colluding with licensed contractors, which has irked Energy Fiji Limited. EFL Chief Executive Hasmukh Patel says there have been cases where unlicensed electricians wide homes by unethically obtaining signatures from licensed electricians. Patel says the work done by unlicensed electrical contractors at times turns out to be substandard and poses more risks to the consumers. Kritika Kumar reports.
The EFL has called on licensed contractors to stop playing a part in the illegal wiring of homes and businesses by signing for illegal contractors.
If a licensed contractor is signing on behalf of an illegal contractor, obviously we are led to believe that the work has been carried out by this registered contractor. Unless someone tells us, no, he just signed in, there's another person who actually came and did the work.
Patel says unlicensed electricians compromise the safety of the building structure and its occupants.
The best people who know these people are the registered electrical contractors. They know who are the people who are snatching the business away from them, and their duty is to come and report to us.
Local Government Minister Premila Kumar says at times Fijians look for cheaper alternatives and engage the services of unqualified people.
So they go for cheaper products, they will go for a tradesman who will say, I've done the wiring for so-and-so and I've done a good job, without even knowing whether he or she is a qualified electrician or not. But because we want to cut cost, so we say, yeah, go and do that.
Kumar says unlicensed electricians are nothing but trouble for those who use them. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Consultations on Fiji's national ocean policy have begun, with advice that the final outcome should become a way of life. Attorney General Ayaside Kayum says the policy will guide all national activities and laws to protect Fiji's oceans. Edwin Nunn reports.
The national ocean policy will become a living testament of Fiji's commitment to the ocean.
Every ordinary citizen should be armed with the same working knowledge as oceans experts. And that knowledge should guide the way they run their businesses, the food they eat, where and when we fish, the size of the fish they catch to sell or eat.
Syed Kayum says while tens of trillions of dollars are being pumped into COVID-19 recovery, very little is channeled to ocean protection.
Humanity has treated our oceans as an inexhaustible resource. We have failed at making simple, common sense investments back in ocean health.
Even the World Bank recognizes that the ocean is sustaining thousands of people affected by COVID-19.
Some of these resources can represent a unique source of food security and livelihoods, and I believe this compels us to improve management of scarce, fragile and finite renewable resources to ensure that in times of hardship we can still draw on the bounty of nature for survival.
It should inspire them to expend the small effort it takes to properly dispose of waste in the bin rather than on the beach, in the river, in the mangrove, on the side of the road.
The policy once adopted will guide climate change laws while building on existing Fijian legislation. Edwin Nand, FBC News.
Social Democratic Liberal Party President Ratu Apenisa Thakumbau is calling all its members to stop the deceit against those who are contesting for top positions in the party. A number of posts have surfaced on social media where certain members who are contesting the election have been accused of being disloyal. These include the likes of Aseri Randrondro, Sitiveni Rambuka and Linda Tambuya, who have been copping flack on social media. Ratu Apenisa says he has decided to make the call in a bid to correct misinformation on various social media platforms linked to the selection process of president and vice president. There have been numerous names being floated around social media, in particular where people have shown their support for different candidates, which has ended in mudslinging. The Facebook page is run from overseas, which is being used to discredit those vying for leadership positions at the upcoming AGM. Up ahead, Lao Province commended for awareness campaigns. And more register with Frank Hilton organization.
मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
The province of Laos has been commended for its continuous effort in combating communicable diseases at the community level in recent years. Health Minister Dr. Ifiremi Wangainambete says no cases of leptospirosis, dengue fever and typhoid were recorded in the province even after Tropical Cyclone Harold, when such diseases usually take a toll. Chasai Nanunga has more.
The health minister is reminding these nurses and community health workers to remain cautious to avoid the risk of a community outbreak.
I think there's also a realization that a significant impact can be made if you actually come and actually see for yourself. But we would like them to actually promote healthy living. So it's some sort of a bilateral agreement. We want the communities to be health promoting communities, but we will ensure access.
The ministry is strengthening its community awareness programs to ensure Fijians in maritime zones have better access to health services, particularly since we are now in the cyclone season.
From the Ministry of Health, I want our people to be able to understand that they have access. So irrespective of where they choose to live in Fiji, we will reach out to them. To me as a minister, that's the most important thing.
Natokalau community health worker Unai Sindovere says she ensures that the compounds are clean at all times.
I normally encourage the villagers to clean their compounds daily. If I see there is a drainage block, I will advise the Turanganikoro and male youth to ensure the drains are cleared of stagnant water to reduce the risk of dengue fever.
As of July, the ministry recorded over 3,000 dengue fever and 1,000 leptospirosis cases. 5 people have died from leptospirosis. Chosai Nanunga, FBC News.
The Frank Hilton organization has over the past week received about 400 new registrations of children with disabilities. Many of these registrations are from parents who noticed some form of disability in their child as they grew older. Venina Rakautonga has more.
The organization is working on ramping up its community support network to help those in need.
Sometimes getting the families to agree for us to come there, or sometimes they really do not have the understanding of what the child's disability is. So usually the first step is getting them to understand what the disability is, and then sometimes there are refusals based on certain things. So we have to either refer them back to the hospital where the doctor kind of explains the child's disability, the diagnosis.
Chief Executive Sureni Pereira says they always ensure that they are fully equipped when going out in the field.
So when we conduct outreach in the west, in the north, and in the east, what our teams do is they base themselves at a special school. They work with the hospital, where they work with the CRAs, in the field, in the communities.
So going out is basically to show that the parents, we are here. If you're not able to come to us, we will come to you for the best interest of the child. So that is why we do the northern outreach, the western outreaches, audiology, physiotherapy, community support. Our receiving office goes as well.
The organization looks after children with disabilities at its complex at Brown Street in Suva, as well as provide medical services. Venina Rakautonga, FBC News.
The Frank Hilton organization hopes to raise around $300,000 from the Amazing Wheelbarrow virtual race. 30% of the funds for the organization comes from annual charity work and fundraising events. Chief Executive Sureni Pereira says sustaining their facilities and looking after children with disabilities is not cheap. Pereira says in line with the COVID-19 restrictions, they have opted to do a virtual race, which targets participants from across the globe. She says in the past 4 years, the wheelbarrow race would rake in around $80,000. So the virtual race will help them raise more to cater for their expenses.
The race is very exciting because it does not limit people only in Fiji and teams only in Suva to participate. It's open to anybody anywhere around the world, so you can actually create your own team with friends and colleagues and family in Australia or New Zealand or the US.
Youths in various villages in southern Laos have been urged to utilize the readily available resources for sustenance. This as concerns were raised by some villagers that many youths are looking for opportunities in urban centres during these trying times. The Ranganikoro of Natokala village, Semi Modeawa, says the government has imposed various initiatives to assist rural farmers and boost agricultural productivity. Modeawa has been spearheading the Rural $1 Million initiative in his village.
We have adopted the rural multi-million-dollar project by planting Yangona and Daulo on a respective piece of land. This is going towards the second year, and we anticipate harvesting these commodities in the next few months that can generate thousands of dollars to assist us.
And turning overseas, US President Donald Trump has announced that he will cut the troop levels in Afghanistan and Iraq before leaving office. And it's time for business now.
Things coming up. Sales pick up for Rakiraki market vendors. And in growing Fiji, Ministry looks at Nosori market expansion plan. Stay with us.
Pula nadang ko aprosan ngarse, go Rakiraki. Do televizyon na barong na Radio Fiji 1 nandomo ibiti.
Radio Fiji 1 nandomo ibiti.
Rakiraki Market is an important avenue not only for the Agriculture Ministry but to farmers in the Western Division as well. Agriculture Minister Dr. Mahendra Reddy says the market has accommodated many sales and has the potential to further boost business for the vendors. Dr. Reddy adds business is slowly picking up post-COVID-19.
So every marketplace, whether it's Rakiraki Market, whether it's roadside stores, are very important for us, those who are engaged in agriculture, farmers and agriculture ministry offices as well.
We'll look on the export as much as we can to bring back some economy back to Fiji, bring back some revenue that helps us.
U.S. retail sales increased less than expected in October and could slow further. This is restrained by spiraling new COVID-19 infections and declining household income. We now join Sharon from HFC Bank with the latest from the money market.
A quick update on the foreign exchange market. Asia-Pacific markets were mixed in early trade today. Investors remained cautious despite vaccine hope as coronavirus cases continued to surge. U.S. stocks fell overnight as the market's recent rally cooled off. The Dow Jones dropped 0.6%, S&P 500 dipped 0.5%, while the Nasdaq Composite fell 0.2%. On the data front, U.S. manufacturing production accelerated in October, though exploding new COVID-19 infections across the country could cause disruptions at factories and leave the recovery in jeopardy. Later on tonight, British inflation figures are due and several U.S. Fed members make speeches. In emerging markets, focus is on Bank of Thailand meeting, though most economists expect rates to be on hold. And that's all from HFC Bank for now. Finaka.
Thanks, Sharon. Here are the local exchange rates as set early this morning. It was not a favorable day for the Fiji dollar as it declined against the Chinese yuan, the US greenback, and the other currencies which recover, but strengthened against our two major trade partners, Australia and New Zealand. Prices also declined on the commodities market. Crude oil declined to over $41.20 per barrel. Gold was declining closely at $1,876 per ounce, and silver closed down at $24.44 per ounce. The Nosori market vendors have raised concerns regarding the availability of space. Minister Pramila Kumar says they're working on building a complex opposite the market to address space shortage. She adds vendors will be able to operate small shops from the complex as well. Kumar says the vendors who have bigger business and a turnover of more than $100,000 rather will be given an option to operate from the new complex. And that's business for this evening. Jamie joins you next with sports.
Thanks, Kelly, and good evening in sports tonight. 29 flying Fijians test positive for COVID-19. And 2 key players ruled out for Nandi. This and more coming up.
FM number 2 NSR.
Bulletin FM number 2 NSR.
The flying Fijians will have another round of tests for COVID-19 on Friday. At the moment, there are 29 positive coronavirus cases in the Fiji camp. As a result, the match against Italy on Sunday has been cancelled. Aquila Dama with the details.
It may be frustrating and at the same time disappointing, but everyone involved are doing their best to confirm how players were infected.
We've done contact tracing, and we think we've identified the likely origin. However, the point to make clear is before we march into our base camp, everyone had tested negative. But as with COVID, you can test negative, but the virus is with you and it will take time, within 14 days.
FRU Chair Conway Begg says Fiji is not being victimized.
We're not victims in this case. We may look like we're victimized, but we're not. It's very, very hard to, as you said, look at the Argentinians. You know, some of them were 4 months in camp for a while. That was a long period of time. It reflected in their game performance. So the teams in Europe, as CEO said, they've been under 2 months in camp. So they've had the preparation well before that.
The Flying Fijians have now lost 2 matches even without playing.
Just to confirm that in view of the cancellation, the points for the matches against Italy and France will be given to Italy and France.
The decision has been made in line with the tournament regulations.
Yeah, it's terms of participation highlights that if a team cannot participate due to any circumstances, then the points are awarded, and we respect it. That's the way, before we participated in the tournament, we knew that that was the rules.
The Flying Fijians is scheduled to play Scotland next Sunday at 1:45 a.m. Aquila Dama, FBC Sports.
In light of the economic effects of the COVID-19 pandemic impacting thousands of Fijians, the 2020 Ratu Sukuna Bowl Challenge will be used as a platform to raise money for the most vulnerable. Both the Fiji Police Force and the Republic of Fiji military forces have decided to donate revenue from gate takings to affected children. Karlani Tavi has more.
As a tradition, the annual clash between the two disciplined forces is set for December 11th with the theme Rise, Fiji, Rise.
Both forces have decided that Schooner Bowl 2020 will be a charity event where all the money from our share of the gate takings and all pledges of assistance will go towards assisting as many children as we can who are struggling because of the economic effect of the pandemic.
The RFMF took the first step by donating $20,000 to this cause during the launch today at the RFMF Queen Elizabeth Barracks in Nambour.
We're thankful that we're still being paid, and we hope that our donation will help in some little way those school children who are currently struggling because of the pandemic and help put a smile on their faces as they go back to school next year.
Police is counting itself as underdogs for the much anticipated clash.
As usual, the Fiji Police Force will come in as underdogs. To our bigger brothers in the military who still have the bragging rights from last year's victory. Respected Commander Sir, we accept the challenge and acknowledge that it won't be easy to take back the Ratu Sukuna Tanua to its rightful home in the Sabah.
The Army rugby team is the defending champions of the Schooner Bowl. Last year, they defeated Police 2017 in the final. Karlini Tavi, FBC Sports.
Nandi football coach Kamal Swami has rated Lautoka highly ahead of their opening Fiji Fact match this weekend. Despite the Blues losing their coach after the IDC tournament a few weeks ago, the Jet-Setters are not letting their guard down. Felipe Naikaso has more.
Nandi is expecting a tough first match against Lautoka at Churchill Park as they open the Fiji Fact tournament.
AJ has always been with me and then with Ravines, and he has done very well in coaching. And this year's record, if you see, he has gone to Suva, played final. He's gone to the other team, Lautoka, which also played final. So I don't think so it is a problem for them.
The side is also feeling the pressure as the defending champions of the tournament. However, notable players like Napoleon Ingase-Vaktini, Christopher Kumar and Jessel Kumar have not been named due to injuries.
We are going as a development team, and because we are concentrating more on next year's events, so we are just building up the team, but at the same time we will try our best.
With majority of the young players to take the field, the team is confident they will do well.
Players come from the youth. I think like about 3-4 players. Like our Sivnil Pillay, he played very well. I think he will replace Gasevakatini with Neshwa will be a striker. He's a very young, and so we start with that. We give a chance to the young boys this time.
Nandi takes on Lautoka this Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Felipe Naikaso, FBC Sports.
Netball Fiji is confident the players selected in the 25-member Fiji Pearls extended squad will be capable of achieving the goals they've set out. With an ultimate aim of improving Fiji's world ranking, Netball Fiji has selected a mix of young and experienced players. Fiji is currently 17th on the International Netball Federation ranking. Its highest ranking was 6th in 1999. President Rubian Sorobaki says they've set their targets and will now have a lot of work to do.
Netball Fiji is encouraged that the squad and the selected athletes have displayed the qualities that we need to move us up in our ranking. That's our ultimate goal. There's a lot of work going on in the background to make sure that happens.
Olympic preparations for Fiji swimming is back on track. The 8 swimmers vying for an Olympic spot are Taichi Vakasama, Epeli Rambua, Netani Ross, Tema Fayali Maiwai, Moana Wind, Mateli Tambon Romo, Cheyenne Roba, and Yolani Blake some of whom participated in the age group nationals at the Damoda Aquatic Center in Suva on Monday. Fiji swimming president Ben Roberts says he is impressed with the swimmers' performance over the three-day tournament.
The swimmers that are vying for the Olympics did very well in these last 3 days. They were setting also national records, which is great because the main event for them is in the nationals next month. But just gauging by how they've performed this weekend, they're on track to be able to produce the results that we want, because next month is an Olympic qualifier for them.
In play of the day, the Azzurri pulling off a beautiful team try in their 28-17 loss to Scotland in the Autumn Nations Cup over the weekend. That's it from Sports Tonight. Coming up in new media, Amazon launches online pharmacy. Details after the break.
मैं टोटली रेडी में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
And our favourite weather lady Angie joins us now with all the latest.
Good evening and welcome to the Weather World. It's an amazing Wednesday with, of course, little changes to the weather pattern. Rain has started to indulge in this beautiful weather system. It's becoming a sun shower weather. Now moving on to other areas in the west, beautiful sunny weather, but that will be short-lived as showers will pass by. Eastwards from Peck Harbour to Suva, showers have surrounded. On and off showers will be quite a bother. And up north, more showers in their picture. At sea, southeast winds 15 to 20 knots may gust to 25 knots at times. For the tides, high tide at 9:53 p.m. with low tide at 4:26 a.m. Sunrise at 6:21. For tomorrow, there is huge bands of rain clouds approaching, and then we'll have the glory of showers from there on. Tomorrow's temps, all centers will remain in the low to high 20s. And looking further on to Friday, another one coming up soon, but it will be filled with lots of showers. Hope that passes away in time. That's all the weather news from my end. It's back to Jackie.
Thanks so much for that, Angie. In Fijian Pulse, we asked, what do you think of the quality of work done by the road contractors in the country?
I'm from Delanavesi and the road condition there is never good. Every day they're fixing it. The contractors are not doing a good job.
I do walk 10 kilometers every morning and I see the condition of the road every day. The road condition is very pathetic compared to the last 10 years. I guess what people say, PWD used to do better work with the experience they had. But these guys, they don't really know what to do, how to do, and in what conditions they're supposed to do the road work.
The quality of the road is not good because they don't work at the right time.
The condition of the road is never good. Most of the accidents that happen is because of it.
And recapping the main stories for tonight, FNPF may help shore up home loans. Collusion between licensed and unlicensed electrical contractors, a national ocean policy almost ready. Now for these stories and others, tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. Our poll question we're asking, are you prepared for the festive season amid COVID-19? Visit our FBC website to answer. And on to our shot of the day. Fantasy Island captured beautifully by Paul Deveau. And you can send us newsworthy pictures to email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj. Share with us via Facebook page FBC News and our Twitter page at FBC_news. That's the news for tonight. Until tomorrow from the team and I, stay safe. Bye for now.
कुमार सानी नाइक है बोंगो लिबू लटो का रेडियो फीजी 2 में पुराना गाना लगे हमें बहुत अच्छा लगे.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.